So on the Google Classroom, I've got the section called Getting Outdoors. Um, what we are going to need to click on first is the Getting Outdoors link right here. I'm looking at the Classwork tab. So go down to Getting Outdoors, and then we're going to view the assignment. And our instructions read, Spring is a great time to explore the world around you. Even if you live in town, there are exciting things happening outdoors. Your assignment for this week is to create a vlog, a video blog, of the outdoor world. It doesn't have to be long, but the following requirements do exist. So our rubric looks like this. You will notice that it lists 4 individuals in your group. You can have no more than 4 individuals for this. You can choose individuals that are from the other class. All right, so it doesn't have to just be this class. You can reach out to other individuals from the other 8th grade group. And so because we're online this week, I think this is a great opportunity for you to maybe work with somebody that you haven't worked with all year long because you guys are in separate sections. So you can work with 3 other individuals from the other group. For this project, there are 9 different categories. The highest score you can get in each of those categories is 10 points. That means this entire project is worth 90 points. All right? The absolute lowest you can get by turning in an assignment is 40 points. That is if it doesn't meet any of the requirements, but you still turn in a project, you're still going to get at least 40 points for getting marks in the last column. All right? So I'm going to go through what a 10 would look like for each of the categories, and I will talk about what a 4 looks like for each of the categories, and then an 8 and a 6 would be somewhere in between the two. So for your presentation, for your video blog, your vlog, you need to have some type of well-rehearsed, smooth delivery in a video format that is sent to me. You could use things like TikTok. You could use YouTube. You could just simply create an MP4 that you email to me. But it has to be in video form. So it needs to be well rehearsed, it needs to have a smooth delivery, and it has to hold the audience's attention. Short little clip bits or short little snips that are like 3, 4, 5 seconds long of different things oftentimes are good as long as there's smooth transitions between them, and blend them together. And then you're going to make sure that you want to narrate over top of some of that stuff as well. So small snippets of video and then narration over top helps to add to that delivery. A 4 out of 10 on this particular category would be delivery is not smooth. It doesn't hold our attention. It's kind of clunky. Maybe it's just one full video of just somebody talking, and it's like, oh, that's kind of doesn't draw my attention in. Attractiveness. It makes excellent use of font, color, graphics, effects, so maybe transitions between different clips in order to enhance your presentation. A 4 out of 10 on this would be use of font, color, graphics, effects, etc. They're distracting. They aren't related to the presentation. Maybe you're talking about discoveries in the woodlot behind your house and maybe the budding that's happening on trees, but all of your pictures or video or whatever you add to it is related to something that's not even that topic. There are requirements. I'm going to talk about those requirements as I scroll down on this, but there are requirements. In order to get a 10 out of 10 for this category, you have to make sure you adhere to each of those requirements. A 4 out of 10 is that not all requirements are met, and there's a number of them that are just obviously not identified. You must have a well-organized video. Sometimes adding bullets or adding text over top of the video may be a benefit here, so that then we understand what's being talked about. If you're getting a 4 out of 10 here, it's just no logical organization to it. It kind of jumps around from topic to topic to topic without a flow to it. Make sure that you are adding information regarding sources. So you're going to look up and you're going to do some research on the particular discoveries that you're making outdoors around your homes. Again, going with that idea of trees budding. That's a pretty simplistic one to discover right now. And so maybe you're going to Google and you're doing a little research on the process of trees budding. And so there's got to be some information that's being added from outside sources. Any outside sources, you're going to make sure that you have that documented. And down in the requirements below, I'll show you what I mean by documenting those. Very little source or no source information was collected would be a 4 out of 10 on here. Oral presentation is you actually presenting, having somebody discuss, having a narration, having audio that is over top of it, that is well rehearsed, again, smooth delivery, and it captures our attention. If there's not smooth delivery or we're not getting our attention captured, then that would be a 4 out of 10. Content. It's going to cover a topic that you choose in depth with details and examples, and your subject knowledge has to be excellent. All right, there's got to be background information regarding this subject knowledge. That's probably going to require some research. It's going to require you going to Google. It's ultimately going to require you to make observations around your homes in the natural environment. And those observations that you make, you are then going to explore with research. Okay? If you're getting a 4 out of 10 here, there's minimal content knowledge, you didn't do very much research, or there's lots of factual errors that are associated with your video. So you're going to be getting outdoors, you're going to be making discoveries around your home, and you are going to be documenting the discoveries that you are making. Originality shows that you are putting thought into this. You are coming up with some original content. You're not recreating something that already exists on Google or on YouTube or some other place. A 4 out of 10 would be using somebody else's ideas, not giving credit to those other ideas, pulling something off of YouTube or TikTok or what other video things that you have at your disposal, maybe Snapchat. Use your own creativity and originality here. Mechanics is just simply if you're putting some type of sources that are written on there, or you're putting some type of content information or bullets over top of your video. There's not any misspellings or grammatical errors in that when you're putting words on there. Our due date for this project is Friday, May 7th, which is this coming Friday. You have the entire week for collaboration and creation. Your requirements are as follows. Your vlog presentation must be between 1 and 3 minutes. I thought 1 minute was probably sufficient because I thought, well, if you're taking like 4 to 5 second snippets and you're piecing them all together, 1 minute might give us a lot of information. My thoughts are that it probably won't be much more than 3 minutes, because if we go more than 3 minutes, we're probably just repeating the same things over and over and over again. So it's important to be effective in your communication and concise and not repeating over and over and over and over again. So that's why I thought more than 3 minutes was maybe not necessary. If you are running into a issue where you're getting up around 3 minutes and you're like, man, I feel like this is a very good video of what we have thus far, and we need to add some more information because we haven't really wrapped up our information right away, and you're getting above that, shoot me an email this week just simply saying, hey, Mr. Windsor, would you look at this and give us some feedback on how we can edit or how we could change, or is it appropriate if we go a little bit longer. You need to have some type of title page or introduction to your video. You need to have some type of voiceover or narration that's happening in your video. There has to be an outdoor discovery for each group member, so everyone's contributing in some way. There will be an editing or an ending credits page as well. So this might include things like where somebody is the editor, where somebody was the research person, where somebody was the video editing person. So there's an ending credits page that has to happen on here as well. You're going to need some form of transitions between your different snippets of video that you record. And then your information supplied has to have some discoveries in it. I noticed I got a spelling error in there. So you have to supply some form of information regarding discoveries that you're making in the outdoor world. Again, springtime is the great time for this. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of things that you might choose to go out and specifically look for. And then there has to be some obvious research or background information. And just as a reminder, right there is your due date. All right, I'm going to jump back to our Google Classroom, and I'm going to give you a few examples of what you might be looking for in your Getting Outdoors materials. So I posted a number of like Getting Outdoors type videos. The springtime, identification of frogs and toads. This is a super great time to go outside and make discoveries of different species of frogs and toads. Audio might be something that you record of vocalizations of frogs and toads. The Department of Natural Resources actually does this really cool project every spring where they send people out in surrounding areas and you just simply identify the frogs and toads that are available in your given area by listening for vocalizations. And so you document the types of frogs and toads that live in your area by just simply listening for the vocalizations. So I created a video about amphibians in your backyard with some frogs and toads that you might discover based on their audio sounds. You maybe will be interested to know that right now there's a large amount of migratory birds that are moving through our communities. They're moving from the southern states up to where we live currently. So you might be interested in birding. And you might be interested in the different bird species that are showing up in your backyard. So there is a video that is related to birding in your backyard. And again, birds make vocalizations as well. And I've got some audio of different vocalizations that birds make. Maybe you are less interested in organisms that are moving around and you have to go like specifically find something that's hard to get a video of or video capture. So another thing that you might make discoveries of is the fact that organisms that live in your community leave waste behind. They leave excrement. And so I created a video that's 15 minutes long about how you can identify the species of organisms that live in your community, live in your area, based on the excrement they leave behind. So I've created a number of videos that you can use for ideas about discoveries that you might make in the outdoors. And you are free to choose any or all of these as you are making your vlog. All right? Next thing we need to talk about is your Getting Outdoors contract. This is due by the end of the class period today. All right. Actually, I'm going to change that. This is due by tomorrow, by the end of the class period, because I just said that you could work with somebody from another class, and it doesn't have to just be you in your specific class period. And so by the end of the class period tomorrow, I want a group contract. All right. Give me a second to do an adjustment here and show what that group contract looks like. So again, group contract is due tomorrow. You need to turn it in. You can have up to 4 people in your group. The first thing you need to do is you need to figure out, who are we working with? Who is going to be in my group for this project? You're going to list their names. You're going to put contact information for them. This contract is useful for you. It is useful for me. All right? You might put like cell phones on here. You might put email addresses on here. There has to be some contact information in here so that then your group can go to this document and you can say, okay, well, I got to get a hold of so-and-so, and how do I get a hold of them? You are going to make a copy of this group contract. I've given you viewing rights. You're going to copy this, and one person in your group is going to get this all filled out, and then you're going to submit it back to me. It's important to recognize that we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And so we're going to document our strengths and areas that we might need to grow. So the creation of this group contract starts with some form of discussion amongst your members about each other's strengths and weaknesses concerning whatever project we're working on here. So it's our outdoors project that we're working on. You need to consider, what are strengths and what are weaknesses? Strengths might include things that you're really good at or areas that you're not overly good at. And it's important that groups know that you're sitting there going, well, you know what? I've never really done any video editing before. And because I've never done any video editing before, that's probably not a strength for me right away. Whereas if we continue to learn, I might be able to do it in the future. All right? It's beneficial to know what strengths people have. Maybe you're an individual that's like, I really like artwork, and I really like creating drawings or artwork. And so putting a strength in there for your group members or for that group member of, I really enjoy drawing, may help in planning out what you're going to create. All right? You're going to fill out the roles section of what that individual is being assigned once you guys have had some communication. So this part right over here is probably going to be the initial, like, we know what our group member is and who our group members are. Here's our contact information. And then I know I have some strengths, and so maybe we're sharing this document amongst our group members, and I'm filling out my strengths, and then I'm filling out like areas that I need growth or areas that I don't feel as comfortable in. And then we're going to talk. And then we're going to figure out, okay, what's the role that each person is going to play in this? And we're going to identify the roles. So this is probably the very last part that gets filled out after you guys have had some discussions about what each partner is going to be doing. All right? The next part, our project goals. So we're thinking about getting outside. We're thinking about leaving the house, getting away from a computer for a little while, and making some discoveries in the natural world around our homes. What is the goal for our project? What are we creating here? What focus do we want to have? Are we all interested in plants, and maybe we want to talk specifically about plants? Are we as a group interested in birds and the birds that we might see in our backyard or around our homes? And so is that our focus? Are we interested in amphibians? Are we interested in soil? Are we interested in whatever it is in the natural world around our homes? All right? There are lots of things to discover. There are lots of things to learn about outside of your homes. That's where our focus is going to be, and you're going to create a project that is focused on something outdoors around your home. Team agreements. This is the important part that you are going to put together as an entire group. You need to discuss as your group some of the agreements that you are going to have. This is your accountability piece. Some accountability pieces might include things like, I will complete any task that's assigned to me by the group. That could just simply be an accountability piece. All right? Another accountability thing might be, if I get sick or if I'm absent for some reason, I will check in with group members to see what I need to do. That's an accountability piece. All right? Another thing might be, I will not use my headphones unless I'm working on an individual task that I've been assigned by the group. Another thing might be we're planning on specific check-ins amongst the group where we're meeting together. I will be available for all meeting times, and you guys might have to have some conversations about when you're meeting. Next thing might be that you have some discussions about deadlines and when groups are going to get things sent to each other. So it's important to recognize deadlines are important. Your overall deadline for this vlog is going to be Friday at the end of the day. And so you need to start putting together, what does our deadline look like for tomorrow as far as things we need to get accomplished? What do we need to get done by Wednesday? What do we need to get done by Thursday? How are we going to wrap everything up Friday and get things to the point where they can be submitted? So deadlines might be important in this team agreements portion as well. And then finally, you might be talking to each other about being open to constructive criticism. So I might be agreeing to the fact that I understand my group members are going to say, hey, you need to be held accountable in this area, and in order to grow, I need to understand that there's some accountability from my other group members that they may adhere to or might hold me to, and it might involve some criticism. It might involve them saying, you got to pick it up here. This needs editing, it needs adjusting, it needs changing in some way. Number 3, accountability. You're going to list the process in which your team will go through in order to hold each other accountable. Please note the individuals may be removed from your group for failure to follow through on agreements. If that is happening, the group must be able to demonstrate that the team has taken some appropriate steps to intervene. So documenting warnings like, hey, we haven't heard from you. You were supposed to be at a meeting. Send an email out. Document that meeting. Shoot me a blind carbon copied email of the email that you're sending to your partner trying to get them engaged again. You need to make me aware of any meetings that you have to discuss concerns amongst group members. And then you also need to notify me that there are concerns that are being addressed. All right? So you guys are getting to the point where you're getting close to high school. And sometimes people are like, I hate group projects because there's always somebody that doesn't do it and somebody else that has to carry the load. Well, we need to make sure that as leaders in our groups, we are going through a series of remindings to get people back on task. All right? And then it gets to a point where we have to remove somebody, we might just simply have to remove somebody. Each group member is going to put their name, and they are going to put a signature on here saying, I agree to all of this information and how we are going to get this project done. I'm leaving this very open-ended for you. I want you to be creative. The goal is to get outside, learn something new that I have not learned, something I don't know about. I don't need you guys to tell me about something you already know. There should be some discoveries made. Go outside and spend today making some observations. All right? And your observations might spur an interest in something. You might say, I wonder about, why is this happening outside? Oh, I saw a robin today, and I was just observing it long enough that I noticed it was having certain behaviors. And so I was wondering about those behaviors. I don't want to know what you already are aware of. I want you to make some discoveries. All right? So group contracts are due to me tomorrow at 10 a.m. because that gives you plenty of time to have communication with other groups if need be. So group contract is due tomorrow. You're getting this submitted to me so I know what the plan is in place, how things are going to happen, and who the group members are. All right?